Also getting your news from Kerala, there was one photograph that's been creating, headlines for the last few weeks, and that is a picture of school-going girls in their uniforms, and many of them termed this photograph as vulgar. Now, the photographer has also been booked. While this issue did trigger a national debate about whether this was a uniform that was okay for schoolgirls, this particular photographer has now been targeted. Zakaria Pukunam has been booked. He is in fact, this picture was termed as vulgar, and Pukunam had posted the picture on his Facebook page. The school received a lot of sharp criticism on social media as well as from locals in the state. Now, the police have charged the photographer under the POCSO Act. He has applied for anticipatory bail. In fact, speaking to media, the photographer rubbished all allegations against him and said that it was an attack on his free speech and that he's been targeted because he highlighted the same. While this did trigger a huge debate in Kerala, what's surprising is that the photographer himself has now been booked for clicking this picture in the first place. I want to go across to Rohini Swami, who's been tracking the story over the last few weeks. Rohini, this particular photo did trigger a huge controversy. It sparked off a question mark about whether this kind of a uniform was appropriate for schoolgirls to be wearing in the state of Kerala. Surprisingly now, and this is not something that at least I had anticipated, that the photographer will be booked for clicking this picture because it's been termed as vulgar.
First, the photographer who has been booked under POCSO, his name is Ethan Bose, and Zakaria is the man who was his friend, who Ethan Bose shared the photo, who later put it out on social media. The whole effort of Bose was to actually tell people that this is an incident that has taken place in a school in Aruvithura in Kottayam. Now, he was trying to tell people that this is something that is absurd, and this could be even termed as vulgar, because a lot of girls in that area were feeling embarrassed wearing that uniform. Mind you, he's a native of that place. He also owns a photo studio just next to the school. But unfortunately, the school decided that they're going to take a firm stand on this. One, they said, especially the principal and the PTA president, that there was nothing wrong in the uniform. Number two, they said none of the parents had objected to it. Number three, they also now have considered that they will roll back that uniform and introduce coats or overcoats for the girls now that the issue has been taken out of proportion, according to them. Interestingly, there was even a statement that was made by the PTA president of the school, who actually said that obscenity is in the eyes of the beholder. The question is that when you are having young girls of an age between 5th standard and 10th standard, they're young, they're also entering adolescence, at a time and age when they're feeling uncomfortable and they are in that age where they will not be able to speak openly.
Okay.
It is up to the school authorities to be sensitive, and that sensitivity is completely missing. Worse still, book the photographer under POCSO. That is upsetting the entire system, but now the government has taken a step and said that that case should be rolled back.
Absolutely. Rohini, thanks so much for joining us with those details. Obviously, there are big question marks on how this particular issue has been dealt with. On one hand, there's a huge debate about the kind of action that needs to be taken by the school authorities to ensure that appropriate uniforms are allotted for school students. On the other hand, you have this kind of action where the photographer who triggered this entire debate is now being booked. This has triggered, of course, huge reactions in social media as well, and we'll get you the latest on that front.